Hello, and welcome to another session of Gifts. This is God's Insight for the Soul. This is a space that Lori and I created for two or three people to come on and join us in community as we experience God speaking to us and through us. Lori and I love to be in communication with that life force love energy that I call God. So when you come on here with us, you can ask a question, provide a situation you'd like a little more insight in, or we can draw an angel card and we just tap into that life force love energy and see how God is speaking to us. And what I encourage people to do, whether you're tuning in at a later date or you're on a call directly with us, is to really tap into how the words coming out of our mouth resonate with you today. There's a message, there is always a message from the divine for us. It's just sometimes a matter of us listening, not just with our ears, but with our entire being to see what that message is about today. So, I'm Bridget, my lovely co host, Lori. Is there anything you'd like to add, Lori?
Nope.
All right. Well, then let's get started. So, Miss Shelley, do you have a question or a situation, or would you like to pull a card?
So I have an experience I had that I would love just some insight on.
Okay.
So a little over a week ago, I was in a breathwork session. I don't know if you guys know Tony and Norm. Somayama breath here in Boise. Anyways, I was doing a breathwork session. I was taken to basically it was basically like a Roman bathhouse. And so the walls were all, and I was the only one there. I was the only one there, and the walls were like these big, heavy stone structures, and there were like fire sconces on the walls for the light. You know how there's mosaic tile like art on the floor.
Bridget, can you still hear her?
No, we lost your sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
the mosaic floor.
Okay, so there was a mosaic floor, but it was all snakes. But they were making up the little mosaic tiles, and they were staying within the border of the mosaic. I'm gonna say rug.
So they
And
were alive.
they were alive and they were moving, but they were tiled. Like they were that vibrant, different colors, like little pieces all put together, but they were moving. On the other side of the room for me was Medusa. Did I and the tiles were snakes. Okay. On the other side of the room for me was Medusa. And Medusa was like, it was very apparent that she was showing me how to move. Like she was modeling for me how to move. And as I was watching her, a snake came up and like looked at me like this. It was like there was an intensity, but none of this was scary. It wasn't like it was it felt very earthy and intense, but there was no fear. And a snake came up and looked at me, and as soon as it did that, I felt a presence here, and I looked over and it was Medusa, and she took her snake headdress off herself and put it on me. And then I left that room.
I'm ready, Bridget.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So one of the biggest things that I believe that the embodiment of Christ consciousness gives us is that we are subject to nothing outside of ourselves, right? If we are endowed with the power that raises the dead and heals the sick and sights the blind, then there is no fear. And the thing that came up as you were describing that they were all around is where are the snakes that surround you, right? And so how does that play out in our everyday life? Where are the snakes that surround you? Now, here's where if we are endowed with this power, and this power is ultimately love, there is no fear, and we can call a spade a spade. If somebody's a douchebag, it doesn't necessarily have to be bad or wrong that they're a douchebag. They're just a douchebag. But when we navigate, okay, positive or what is it? Toxic positivity would say, "Oh, that person's not a snake. Oh, that person's not a douchebag. Oh, that person's not manipulating me or hiding anything." That's toxic positivity. I believe love and being subject to nothing outside of ourselves says, "Oh, yeah, I recognize you're a snake. And now I'm going to navigate appropriately." And I feel like that was why it was right here. And that's why you felt the intensity of recognizing and using your discernment, right? Yes, I recognize and discern that you are a snake. What do I do with snakes? How do I navigate? I don't love on them. From the perspective of, oh, let me just put my arm around you. No, I can face them without the fear. I can be surrounded with them without the fear. And then I can even stand in the presence of that, embodying and knowing what a snake is and what it looks like and what it feels like. And I can navigate appropriately and leave the presence of people who are snakes. So there is this calling for less love and light and more what's right in front of me and how do I navigate appropriately for my own and everyone around me well-being. Yeah. Okay, one more little nugget. Because if I'm not discerning properly and I'm going, "Oh, it's okay to be a snake," then I get bit and I die. If I'm going, "It's so awful that you're a snake," then we're not sharing love, right? So the discernment is, "Oh, you're a snake, and this is how I appropriately not spew hate on you, but also not receive yours."
I love that discernment piece that Lori brought up because when you first started talking about all of these snakes around, um, my cognitive brain went to that old pattern belief of the serpent and in a serpent can equal sin and that kind of path, but that's not the feeling that I was getting from the story. And so that deeper dive into what that snake in your story was symbolizing. So I just looked up the metaphysical meaning of a snake. Spiritually, the snake symbolizes transformation, renewal, and healing, largely due to its ability to shed its skin. And what I love then about Lori talking about that discernment piece is telling ourselves the whole story, because there are times that that you may feel like you are the snake to somebody else. And there are times that you may feel like somebody else is a snake to you. And yet telling yourself the whole truth. I am in right standing. I can choose how to how to perceive even somebody coming, like you said, like the snake came up here, but it wasn't scary. So you can choose how somebody's interaction with you, how to take that.
Mm-hmm.
You no longer have to respond from an old pattern belief, but you have the ability to even question it. Is my initial response coming from an old pattern, or is is my response to what's coming at me from love, or is it from dislike, or all of the things? Where is this response coming from? I guess that's kind of where I'm going with this. Is it feels like a deeper investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the ability to take yourself to that deeper investigation, which, like Lori said, like I love that word that she kept using was discernment, because that's what discernment is right.
Thank you so much.
Nice. Yes, queen.
Yes.
All right, Bridget, do you want deck 1, 2, or 3?
Do two.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to set you guys down so that I can get the card. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Hold on. No, I don't. I don't need to. I'm just going to pull it out all random like this. Okay. Okay, hold on. Now I do have to put my glasses on. All right, Bridget. There's nothing to worry about. You're safe. And this situation is under the perfect command of divine providence and universal order. Only infused loving thoughts and emotions. Aha. Only infuse loving thoughts and emotions into the situation to ensure that the highest possible outcome flows effortlessly to and through you. I'm going to read that again. You're safe. And this situation is under the perfect control of divine providence and universal order. Only infuse loving thoughts and emotions into the situation to ensure that the highest possible outcome flows effortlessly to you and through you. So I feel like even if you weren't thinking about it or not, I feel like this is about your move into your own seat in your networking group. And we forget how powerful we are. And when we worry, we create neural pathways. We create the energy inside of us. The more we worry, the more worried we get. Right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, if I trust God and I am made in his image, creator, now the worried thought is the invitation to shift my focus. Well, of course, everything's going to turn out fine. And it doesn't matter what fine is, it's fine. Because I have the power to navigate whatever shows up. If it shows up and I spend the money and I never get one single client, well, what was God showing me through that? What was God allowing me? Oh, I'm so grateful that I had the money to spend on that and not get any return. And did I show up and practice being confident in who I am and what God's called me to? And was this a beautiful time for me to get support from people who love me, even if they never support my business? Did they support me in standing up every single week and sharing my love and my truth and who I am and what God's called me to? And so it doesn't even matter what it, how, that God's called me to it, and I believe that He's good, and I get to choose the direction of my focus. That's all that matters.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
good.
yeah. And again, you guys, yes, Bridget and I are facilitating this, but this is still God through us, and we're still growing. And yeah, there's going to be times where we're worried about things and don't realize how.
Come back.
She froze.
Oh, okay.
No. Am I
Okay,
back?
you're
You're
back. You're back.
Okay, so weird. I thought we were gonna have internet the whole time. Okay, so I was just saying amazing, good stuff that God is just working through us and all is well.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna randomly pick out of the same deck because I don't want to lose our intranet. Okay, that is my card. It looks like, yeah, she's got really cool hair. That's for sure. What I'm looking at. Okay, it says cleanse and detoxify. Uh, with great love and respect, we ask you to detoxify your precious and sensitive body. At your request, will help you to develop life affirming ways to deal with stress as well as cease any sorrow at shedding your old ways. Give your cares, worries, and concerns to us and feel the beautiful grace of your newly purified body.
Mm. I love, and Lori and I have talked a lot about this. I love doing group sessions where because literally I see God's hand in each, it all kind of the synergy of it just. And a couple of things. The first thing, Lori, that really stood out is this walk with me invitation is what I was getting from God, is walk with me and shedding those old ways, shedding those old uh, beliefs. And again, I go back to what Shelley having the skin, and that is a significant thing with the snake because you shed that skin, and you definitely are diving into um, uh, putting on like the work that you're doing right now with changing the nervous system, with helping to figure out what those saboteurs, those unseen saboteurs are, and then choosing to shed those and it, so that it changes your nervous system, that biological part of the nervous system, and purifying the body. And what hit me also was in the book of Esther, it talks about how she purifies and cleanses herself before she is presented to the king. And this work that you're currently doing is shedding that old skin and purifying the body, which is bringing you closer and closer and a deeper relationship, a different relationship with your creator. Each time that you go deeper within yourself, you're presenting another layer of that relationship with your creator.
I I love it, and the this whole idea of like that detoxifying the old, right? Like somebody who's weak has a particular way of thinking and being. Somebody who is subject to nothing outside of themselves has a way of thinking and being.
Mm,
As you, and again, that synergy of as you step out and do a new thing, you have to shed the old. Shelley
mhm.
recognizing, oh, I can discern and not have to go into the wrongness, right? That's shedding of a new being. And it was so interesting because I was focusing on my physical body this morning. And it was
Mhm.
like I'm finally in a place where it's not about getting the results of how I want my body to look, but that I just want to feel that purity, that ease, that expansion inside my body. And
Mm,
so I love that this came up, and I love that that's exactly what you hit, that recognizing it starts with our nervous system, right?
mhm.
And my physical body will never be detoxified as long as there's toxins flowing through my nervous system, unbeknownst to me because of my subconscious patterning. So,
Yes,
so I love that so much. I love it all. I love it.
yes,
So good.
I do
So
too.
good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shelley, for joining us so that we could experience a group dynamic like this. And if you are watching this and you would like to join us as well, there is a calendar link down in our description. We'd love to have you come on. And again, you can share a situation or ask a question, or we can draw an angel card and Lori and I just tap in and see how God is speaking to us for that situation. So feel free to join us and we'll see you here soon.
Bye.
Love you.